Good evening, everyone. Let me stand on existing protocol. Equally appreciate the chairman for this session for providing guidance and direction on this plenary session. Sorry, can we have the slide up, please? We'll be looking at fighting corruption with emerging technologies, and I believe that we're IT professionals here. This is not going to be a practical session like Larry just did. We're going to be looking at key areas that we can start looking at in terms of fighting corruption in our society, ranging from collecting data, analyzing data. There are a lot of opportunities out there. Then, before we talk about the automation, the design process, as well as post-implementation. We're going to look at all this, but to start with, let's get to know what we'll be talking about this evening. Let's look at corruption in the environment. Today, one of the cardinal points of the present administration is fighting corruption, and a lot of people have said that if we fail to kill corruption, corruption will probably kill us. So, and this is gradually increasing on a daily basis, and it calls for us as an IT professionals to look inwards and see how we can key into this. Let's look at corruption in terms of defining what corruption is. Advanced Learners Dictionary define corruption as dishonest or illegal behavior, especially of people in authority. And when you look at Clean Govbies, it summarizes it as the abuse of public or private office for personal gain. So when you combine these two together, it means that at the center of corruption is people. At the center of corruption is you and I that want to turn the table for our own personal benefit. So when you start doing this, I mean, some of us will do this unknowingly, and some of us will do it knowingly. Okay? So by the time you turn the table to favor you, then you become a corrupt professional. Quick facts about corruption in Nigeria. This is from Transparency International. Nigeria is rated 136 on the corruption index as at 2016. And in the last 10 years, okay, put it on average, we fall on 119 on average. So if you look at it between 2012 or 2014 and look at 2016, the data is there for us to consume. Also in terms of, on a scale of 0 to 100, we fall in 28, okay, as one of the most corrupt nations, if you want to put it that way, okay? But first, some of us don't like accepting, we don't want to accept this known truth, but that is the truth, okay? If you travel outside this country, once they see green passport, they see Nigeria, I mean, some of you know what you face at the entrance of most of those Western countries. So what can we do? Okay, we need to look at how does this corruption really exist? And they exist at different levels. Okay, we have the grand corruption, which exists at the highest level, when people try to use policies to their own advantage. Okay, so you can have top government officers or people in some private organizations when they try to manipulate policy because they want it to favor themselves. It happens everywhere. National Assembly, look at the judiciary, everywhere you find it. Okay, we have petty corruption that exists among people of mid-level career officers in different organizations. Okay, and when you look at the last presentation in terms of cyber security or when you have a cyber attack, it's a form of corruption because these people, they equally use it to their own advantage. Either they want to get money from you or because they want to try their own skills. But when you do things for your own personal gain, we call it corruption. Then we have political corruption. Okay, INEC is presently talking about exploring e-voting system, which they've actually started, because they've started gradually with the implementation of the electronic voters register, and because e-voting is a large system that has different components. So gradually, INEC has started working on this. But the big question is this: where do we come in as IT professionals? Okay, we can sit here and talk till tomorrow that we're not getting involved, but there are a couple of areas that you can actually get involved. In about 2 months ago, I think we invited one of the directors from INEC to Abuja chapter meeting. And he delivered a paper and he said one thing that the IT professionals are missing in action, that they would want to work with us. Okay, so that is more like a challenge to us. We can fold our arms and do nothing. We can key into the existing platform, or we can equally collaborate to see how we help government to eradicate corruption in the public sector, as well as work with private organizations, okay, in eradicating corruption. What is the cost of corruption? Okay, corruption has different levels of cost, okay, that we have to bear, ranging from political cost, economic cost, social cost, environmental cost. And when you look at it in terms of political cost, after every election, if you follow trends in terms of litigation here and there, if you quantify the amount of money we spent on litigation, okay, while lawyers smile to the bank, okay, you ask yourself, why are we paying this so much? Because somebody is committing fraud somewhere. Because somebody is manipulating the process to favor himself. Somebody is manipulating the process to favor his party. Okay? So if we automate this process, I believe that this corruption can be reduced to a certain level. Do you agree? Economic cost. Economic cost, as an entrepreneur, I know what it means when you come up with innovative ideas. Okay? And you take it to government or you make presentation about it. And some people try to steal your ideas. Okay, so it kills innovation, really. That's the truth. Okay, and I'm sure there are 1 or 2 people here that will have experienced such a thing. People in the academia today, they are scared of equally working with, opening their research work, because they feel that somebody will probably not give them money for it, or somebody will not even recognize their effort. So all these are ways that we need to look inwards as IT professionals to look at what can we do to enhance this system. The social cost too, in terms of we cannot even interact with one another freely. Okay, now we're talking about cyber threat. Okay, we're talking about cyber kidnapping, cyber bullying. Okay, these are some other things that we equally need to start looking inwards. Environmental cost. Today there's gas flaring in Niger Delta. We cannot quantify the amount of money that as a nation we are losing to that process. Okay, for people failing to comply with environmental laws, okay, there are a lot of money that we're losing as a nation. And it becomes very, very important that we look inwards to see how we can fight this corruption at this different level. What are the consequences? Reputational damage. I've talked about the case of Nigeria as a nation. Okay, if we're ranked 196 out of 175 countries in the world, then it calls for action. And this action cannot just be taken by the government, by people in the private sector. It lies on our hands. It is a collaboration between the key stakeholders, which I'm going to show you very soon. It increases transactional cost, okay, and uncertainty. The risks of corruption, okay, on small businesses, on established businesses, on government, on individuals and people is gradually increasing on a daily basis. If you remember the case of Ayodeji, okay, we know how much Nigeria is losing to that. There are other cases that I'm not going to talk about, but we read papers, we hear of this on a daily basis, and it calls for action. These are other consequences. Because of time, I possibly will not want to go through everything, but I'll make the slide available. Now, as IT professionals, where do we come in? Okay, technology today provides a more cost-effective way of reporting corruption. There are different levels by which we can actually take action. Okay, and when you look at these different levels, if you look at this slide, in the middle there is IT professional. Okay, the reason why I'm putting that is that we have a major role to play. Okay, from government to government, citizen to government, or from business to business, we have a larger role to play. Okay, so these are the key stakeholders: the government, the citizens, the private organizations, the international community, the judiciary, as well as civil society organizations. We have a larger role to play. So where can we come in terms of monitoring and tracking? Okay, access to information. First, we need to know where does this corruption exist. I've talked about it at different layers. Okay, and I've talked about different areas where you have people manipulating things to favor themselves. How many political parties do we have in the country? How many local governments, how many wards do we have in the country? Who is collecting this data? Who monitors the voting process? Who monitor to know that, okay, the number of people that goes from here to a particular polling unit, these are the number of people that will get. So we need to collect this data. And when we collect this data, the next thing will be for us to analyze the data and take action. Okay, but for us, as IT professionals, we can have solutions that will be limited to this area in terms of gathering information. Okay, budget monitoring. Okay, a lot of us know of budget, right? Budget, they have a solution they call tracker. And what budget does generally is they collect data, they analyze the data. Now they are now getting citizens involved through the tracker platform. If you go to tracker.ng, what you need to do is, if you can pick the budget of the nation and know how much was allocated to your constituency, or know how much was allocated to your local government, or know the projects that are to be executed by your state governor, you can report this through that platform. Okay, and when you report it through the platform, this can be pushed to the outside world. Monitoring of political lifestyle of our politicians. Okay, this is another thing that we can do to have a solution that keep track on all their movements and all their spendings in terms of money that move from one place to the other, money that is exchanged at. Funny enough, money exchanged during political campaign, during voting, but nobody reports this. Okay, and when you fail to report it, then the solution will be far from it. Other application area I've talked about, data collection. How many of us know U-reporters? U-reporters collect data on a daily basis through SMS. Okay, as funny as it is, when I joined that platform, I was wondering what actually these people are up to. But U-reporter has been running now for about 4 or 5 years. Okay, and they got a grant from United Nations to get that portal running. So this is just a simple thing that somebody put together somewhere. So how much more we IT professionals, if we can work on solutions that can help us to collect data, analyze data, and get other people to take action. Social mobilization. Some of us will remember the subsidy incidents of 2012. Okay, through Facebook. Okay, through BlackBerry as a den. Okay, the whole nation was put to a standstill for 1 week. All right, we have the open house today. National Assembly is pushing their budget for the first time in the history of Nigeria. These are things that people keep asking for, and good enough, Nigeria is keen into the open government initiative. Okay, and this makes information to be readily available, and if this information is readily available, the next thing is the next action to take. E-government initiatives. Today, Korea is known as the best e-government champion in the world. Okay, and we have some people from even our ministry here to go to Korea today. Okay, to go and see how it's working, and we hope that they will be able to implement it well here. But it's something that we too can look at. E-taxation. Today, FIRS is launching their e-platform in Lagos. Okay, and it means we're equally making some giant strides. But where do we come in as IT professionals is something for us to think about. Electronic identification. We've seen how somebody's ID was taken and it was manipulated, okay, through the video that was shown from the last speaker. Okay, electronic identification. How do we identify and authenticate the person that is penetrating into the system? Today we have Bitcoin, which is gradually gaining momentum, and you have the blockchain. Okay, blockchain is it keeps track of electronic ledger. Okay, and with blockchain, rather than having a client server application, with blockchain, every system authenticates and every system keeps track of whoever joined the network. So which makes it different from waiting for somebody to authenticate or to authorize you to give you access to a particular system. Okay, so these are ways by which corruption is being fought across the globe as we stand today. Now, when you look at other, of course, we've made some good progress back home in terms of the TSA. If you look at, this is CPN, if you look at the report that was presented in Calabar compared to the previous report, the first, when government migrated to the TSA platform, if you compare the income, okay, in terms of what comes in as annual subscription, and you look at previous years, is a clear testimony to what technology can do in terms of removing blockages. I'm not saying there's corruption in CPN, but what I'm trying to say is that there are some things that may not really appear. We have people that will take permission in their office that they are going for a CPN conference, but you possibly will not see them, they possibly will not pay the money. Okay, but today, because it is TSA, they can pay from their office to CPN account, and everybody is happy. Also, what are the considerations? We need to first look at the objective. Why am I embarking on this? So we need to define our target audience. Okay, and at the center of this whole thing is people. Okay, and we talk about people. Okay, so who are the people? Do they have the right skills? Do they need to be trained and retrained? Okay, in what area are they going to function? Are they going to be collecting data? Are they going to be programmer? Are they going to be analyzing systems? Are they going to be cyber hacker or ethical hacker, right? Thank you. Okay, cyber ethical hacker, okay. All this, we need to identify the role of every individual and get them on board. Then once that is done, we need to identify the process from one stage to the other. Based on the objective earlier identified, we need to identify the partners that are going to work with us on this. In terms of the partners that were shown earlier, the government, the civil society, the media, and all what have you. Then we look at the platform too. The platform is very, very important. I worked on a project for one of the oil companies, and one of the things that we try to do is just to deploy a simple IoT tool or IoT technology that keep track of movement of truck from one place to the other. Okay, such that if I'm taking fuel from Mosimi or Ijigo, for example, and I'm taking it to Ibadan, all right, I should be able to know the density that it has. I should be able to detect that the density has not been tampered with. I equally need to know that the quantity is the same thing that was taken from depot to the destination. Okay, these are tools that we have working out there and that we can key into. I know that a lot of things is currently being done in our institutions, okay, but there's need for more synergy, okay, working with the private sector, getting all the stakeholders involved so that we can have a workable system. Other things will be engagement. After you have a good solution, if you don't engage the people that are going to use this solution, the people that are going to be extracting, that are going to be using the data for anything they want to use it for, okay, it becomes a standalone system that we possibly will not even reap the advantage. So this is one of the things that we equally need to understand. So possible limitations will be, do we have the right skills? Okay, if we don't have the right skills, we possibly will not be able to design the right solution to solve the worst problem. Okay, then possible misuse of IT. Today we see different messages that we cannot even validate. The first rule of thumb is that you must trust, but you need to verify. So people send you a message, you send it to this one, somebody just post it. So we need to equally look at that. Internet access, we're still battling with broadband, okay, which is a key factor in terms of any solution because of the people that will be accessing whatever we develop. Security challenge is key, and we've heard enough about cyber security here. So I believe that if we come together as a body, we can actually achieve a lot. We have different case studies that we can, if you look around that you can get. Publish What You Pay is an initiative of United Nations Support Fund. Okay, then we equally have the budget. Okay, that is a platform that budget used to track budget. So all these are different initiatives that are out there. Okay, and I believe that if we can have small groups, the last speaker talked about having a work group in terms of cybersecurity. We can start developing smaller groups that can develop this solution and make it readily usable for our people. For me, I believe that we can fight corruption. And I believe that the best way to fight corruption is when we develop the right process to solve the worst problem. And for us to solve the worst problem, we need to come together as IT professionals because we stand in the middle of this whole thing. Thank you.